have to let people know what it's like to be clear and specific, because it can save you and me a lot of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my God. Where is it? I'm so close.
I would have never thought to do that, if I'm being
Yeah.
entirely honest. I didn't take it that far as putting myself through pain or torture with activities.
What's the worst one that you've done? That's my question.
Oh, the worst?
Yeah. Well,
I don't
not the
believe
worst,
I
the
have
most
a
painful
worst.
one.
Painful?
Yeah.
None of
can't
my
find
activities
this.
were painful. I mean, I'm the artistic galley. I would do like painting activities and singing activities. And why are you laughing?
Wait, how does a singing activity
Why does that make you laugh?
It's just funny. Because I did the exact opposite. Most of them were.
Seemed pretty
endurance
dramatic.
and pain
Dramatic,
and
yeah.
suffering, all the physical things. Like, so you're like the physical type. You do all the physical things. You do all the artistic things. And
Seems so. And
Yeah, I'm not-
what do you believe your vibe's gonna be?
I'm a mix of both. I've considered physical things. I've done a few physical like hand-eye coordination things, but most of my things do lean towards artistic endeavors. But I want to know about the trial and error of getting into these activities. How did we arrive at the activities that we ended up with? Because in my trial and error with some artistic activities, I've discovered some things are just very messy. They're not as advertised because you get things from the dollar store or whatnot. And I would have my hands covered in different colors of clay that was not supposed to bleed, but it bled.
Right.
Did you try it at home or?
I tried them at home before I did it in class. That's how I knew I couldn't do some of these things because they just
right.
were not landing. But I want to know about the behind the scenes, like the trial and error to get to the activities that you ended up with in class.
For me personally, I reflected on just what I would do every day. I think being an artist in general is a trial and error. Consistently always testing your boundaries, what feels good, what feels forced. And I mean, as a painter, because I do a lot of abstract illustration, it's really a gamble every time. There's no structure. There is a goal. There's like a massive win or loss. I either wasted all this fucking material or I created something really dope.
How do you know though? That's the question.
How do I know that it's dope?
How do you know that it's dope?
Because it feels good. I would say that's how I know.
Really?
You know, sometimes I'm a little lost because I don't necessarily like it, but a friend will come by and they're like, "That's ill. How'd you do that?" And I'm like, "That's
ill?
shit."
You say it was ill?
That was ill. Yeah, I'm from the East Coast.
Referred
We
to
say
as
shit
ill?
like that. Yeah, that was ill. Does that make you uncomfortable?
What does that mean?
It was
That's
cool.
ill.
That's ill. That's a
Like
vibe.
sick.
Sick.
Oh,
Exactly. That's sick. You've never used that's ill?
Oh, that's so funny.
We're West Coast. Are you West Coast?
No, I'm East
Okay,
Coast. I don't use
whatever.
ill.
In the West Coast, we
Where
say
in the
sick.
What East Coast rock did you go?
Orlando, Florida.
Oh.
Oh.
From Orlando.
I'm just kidding.
Wow, the amount of judgment from both sides right now. I just felt it squeezing me.
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando.
I mean,
What's your opinion on
Disneyland,
Orlando?
Disney World, not Disneyland. I love Disney
Disney
World.
World, yeah.
That's the only reason I've ever gone to Orlando, if I'm being entirely honest.
I grew up at Disney.
But hey,
That's
you came
fine.
out of Florida. And
I came out of Florida.
I was gonna say
So-
you don't seem so
It
bad.
doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, no, I don't think I am. But I think that the amount of what?
I wanted to go back to your mom being the fairy godmother. So you
Yes.
come from a family of actors, is what I'm hearing.
My mom was the fairy godmother at Disney World. My aunt and uncle,
Wow.
they were professional clowns for Ringling Brothers Circus, and now they are Santa and Mrs. Claus at Disney. So I come from
Okay.
on my mom's side, a lot of performers.
That's
love that.
Really
Yeah.
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Did you ever do any circus work or theme park work?
I'm a magician, so I feel like that is in the realm of circus stuff. But I mean, I love it. I tried juggling one time. Didn't go very well. Did that for a couple activities, but
Juggling.
yeah.
I might bust out juggling for an independent activity. I
Can
might.
you juggle?
I can try. I've tried. It hasn't. When I do it at home to trial and error, it doesn't land. So we'll see.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Do you? Did you come
from a
from
lineage of
performers?
performers. No, I'm actually the first in my
First, like artist?
first artist. Yeah, in my entire
Really?
lineage. It's
Wow.
it's interesting to say the least.
That is
I get a lot
interesting.
of judgment, but also praise for it. I'm doing something different. Yeah.
What do
about
they
you?
do?
My family, parents, my mother is in medical. She's a registered nurse. So she's all about medicine and how to heal me and how to heal my emotions. And I'm like, let me feel, woman. I just need to feel. I'm an artist. So we don't really understand each other in that way. She's like, just like take an ibuprofen, the pain will go away. And I'm like, no, I want to feel this. There's depth to it. My father, he's not in my life. So don't know what he does. However, growing up, I would say a part of my artistry I feel like was connected to him because he was a writer. He loved to do like creative writing and he could draw really well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, but I didn't know it much past that. So,
Sure.
but I felt always that there was a connection there. Like that's where a lot of my artistic needs were because I saw it in him and then it made me curious and then I did it and I was like, I need to do this for the rest of my life. Like this is me, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And yes, I'll thank him for that. And then everyone else in my family have cops, teachers, you know, your average general 9 to 5s.
Hey, but we need those.
Of course.
It takes all kinds.
Yeah. I mean, they do their thing. They all excel at what they do. And so I give that to them and they're like, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to push to be an artist for the rest of my life, no matter how hard it gets. And I know you guys don't understand it, but I respect and appreciate that you support me. And that's the most important part to me, at least.
At least they support you.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's important.
And
Being
you
an
came out
artist.
here specifically for Meisner, or you were out here before?
No. I came to LA for modeling, actually, and painting, because that's what my focus was. And then I discovered acting like 2 years ago. And from there on, I was like, I need to give this a genuine shot. Because there's something I feel here that I'm not sure where it's coming from. I want to explore it because it's taken me places that I never saw myself going. And I came across Meisner, and there was this mind, body, soul connection I felt and made me intrigued and wanted to dive into it. And now I'm here 2 years in, and I like it.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
great.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad that you feel like that this is a space where you can just fully unleash.
And be myself and
Great.
be truthful,
Truthful.
right?
Across the board.
Across the board, everything I
And
do.
it bleeds into your
Yeah.
non-artistic life. Have you felt that thus far?
Absolutely. I feel that I'm only 3 months into the first year of the program, but I feel that it came in a time in my life when I was seeking. I don't know if simplicity is the right term for it, but simplicity is what I am getting out of it. There's a certain direct, bare bones truth to it all. I am at a point in my life where I'm trying to trim the excess in my life, the things that don't.
Yes.
Exactly, the
Yes.
excess, the things that don't make
You
sense
said
to
that
me anymore.
so perfectly.
You grow up with so many different things and influences, and at a certain point you go, what do I want? What is my deepest truth as a human being, and how do I share that with the world? How do I take in the things that I've been given in life so far and share that with the world? And Meisner has been helping me figure that out. I'm early in the program and I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I'm excited for the journey, and it is a journey. The journey leading into me getting into Meisner and then to be in Meisner now, I'm excited for.
Yeah. Did you do training, any other training outside of Meisner before this?
I have an improv background. I did my 101 and 201 at UCB.
Nice.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
I'm at 301.
Oh, nice.
I'm about to go to 401 actually.
I don't know what
Congratulations.
Thank
that
you.
is.
It's a lot of fun.
I want to continue on with improv, but so I got a scholarship in fall of 2019, and I did 101 between 2019 and then beginning of 2020, and then we all know what happened at the rest of 2020. So and then
World
UCB
shut down.
Yeah, and then UCB shut down. I never knew that I was going to be an actor. It just sort of happened. I was always artistically inclined as a kid. I enjoyed drawing. I enjoyed playing. I loved visual arts. I loved making things. It was very tactile.
Mm-hmm.
I used to make dioramas for fun for my toys. I know, I was that kind of kid. But I think that
That's
set
cool.
the stage for acting too, because I would play act with my toys, and they had characters,
Right.
they had voices, they had whole backstories.
Wow.
Right. And
Sounds like me.
right. And,
I
and
love
being
that.
in Meisner has actually helped me rediscover that part of myself that I'd forgotten about at some point.
Yeah.
That ability to play. And that's been really liberating and really, really fun. It was never something that was encouraged in my family. I don't come from a family of actors at all. My mom's an accountant. My dad is a civil engineer. For me, it was never something that was encouraged in my family. And for the longest time, I had to keep it a secret. When I was in college, I thought I wanted to go into filmmaking. And I was PAing on sets, and I was seeing the actors do their thing, and I realized, no, you know what? That's what I want to do. But I felt so far behind, and I didn't know how to get into it.
Why did you feel like you had to keep it a secret?
Yeah, I was about to ask that.
Oh,
too.
keep it a secret from my family?
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I had to keep it a secret from my family because they would not understand. I just knew they wouldn't understand it. And I anticipated a lot of negative talk, a lot of talking me out of it. So I did not tell them for the longest time because I didn't want them to talk me out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're aware of it now.
Oh, yeah. But again,
And what was that like breaking the news?
I think the breaking the news was when I booked a commercial.
Okay.
I booked a commercial out of college.
How old are you? When did you?
I'm older than I look. I'm 35. I graduated I graduated in
okay.
2010. You know, I booked my first commercial, and that was purely luck. And then I think why I was so successful in the beginning was because I absolutely had no idea what I was doing. I was so truthful, and I just did. And then when I started taking other acting classes, I got really, really in my head about it because I always felt insecure about my acting ability because I never had formal training.
Right.
And I really got into my head about it. And I had to take a break for a little bit because even though, yeah, my parents knew that, okay, cool, you booked a commercial. What's next? What's the next thing? And then sometimes in the acting world, there are all these big lulls. They didn't know what to do with the lulls. They're like, well, you're not working now. What are you doing for the rest of your life? Is this how it's going to be for the rest of your life? And mind you, I'm in my early 20s, and I don't know.
It's scary.
I've never done this before. No one in our family has ever done this before.
Yeah.
And I get where they were coming from. I could see that they wanted to help, but their idea of helping was maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try that, you know?
Right.
Try
gearing you away from your artistic
Veering me away
self.
from the arts. They were thinking maybe you should work for the state. Maybe you should work for the
You wanna
city.
work for the
Sure.
state.
Get a safe job where you
Right,
get
like,
benefits and healthcare.
Thumbs down.
Things that are important, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say
Just not
thumbs
you.
down. I
Just
have
not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the hindsight now to look at it and realize that we all have different tools, we paint with different brushes, and they were using their brushes that they had for love to paint with.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
Right.
It
I
really
can't. I
is.
always bring it back to art. I always bring it back to art because not everybody uses the same tools. Not everybody uses the same colors to make art. At the end of the day, we're all just
Absolutely.
trying to make something beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this human experience is all very artistic.
It sounds like you both see the little intricacies of art and everything. That's really cool.
Right.
I have always admired that in people who are very good at just really zoning in on the details of things. How do I feel about that? For me,
Sure, you are.
I feel like I'm not as in tune with that, to be honest. When I found Meisner, I was not very in tune with it. And now I'm much more than I was, but some people it sounds like you both naturally are good at seeing the little artistic details and everything. And a lot of people don't pick that up unless you have that like soul of an artist.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you're an artist. You do magic
Yeah.
tricks at a bar.
I do.
That's
Right.
talk about that.
Doing magic requires knowing how to read people and knowing how to gauge what's going to happen in the.
Oh yeah, totally. So I also work at the Magic Castle, if you guys know where that is.
I
That's
drive
huge.
by it often, and I'm so curious what goes on in those walls. I've heard some stories. I don't know how true they are.
How long have you worked there, and how did you get that gig?
The Magic Castle is I've worked there since I was 16. So I'm
Wow.
21 now. I don't know whatever the math is on that. 5 years and 5? Is it 5? 5. Yes.
Yes.
Anyways, so I've worked there since I was 16. I was in the junior program, and Essentially, it is a private club for magicians, but it's also a venue for magic where there are a bunch of different rooms and there's magicians in each of the rooms. There's close-up magicians, there's stage magic, there's parlor magic, bar magic, and I've been doing close-up magic for a long time now, since I was 8 years old. And
What is close-up magic?
close-up magic
Yeah.
is, I mean, there's a pretty substantial difference between magic that you see on a stage, like sawing people in half and big stuff like
Okay,
that, as
okay.
opposed to like cards that are
Got
happening
it. So that's
right in
close-up
front of you.
magic.
That's
Like,
close-up
right
magic.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And been a close-up magician professionally for I'd say since I was like 10. So I've been doing
Wow,
doing
so
that.
it's like you've been doing it your whole life.
Been doing it my whole life. But yeah, you're right. There is a lot of. I'd say that I got exponentially better at being a magician since I had graduated, because you do learn to read behavior and you learn to see where people are at and how you can gauge and tailor what you do to how they're reacting. And it is a lot like improv. I feel like going to UCB and Meisner and having magic as a skill, it all makes you a really good performer, just a super solid performer, whether you're doing magic or acting or whatever it is, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds
Has
like
there, sorry to cut you off, but has there been moments in some of the work you've done that people are just not feeling it, they don't care, or they are not?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a street magician as well, so I'll go out onto the Burbank Promenade, really close to the Meisner Center.
I know
And
exactly what
yeah,
you're talking
you know what I'm
about.
talking
Yeah.
about. And I'll set up a little table, do some magic, and it can suck sometimes because there are a lot of people there who don't don't care, and you really have to know how to attract an
Yeah.
audience. But even when there are people that are paying to see you or going to the Magic Castle, some people just tune out. I perform for a lot of kids at the Magic Castle.
How does that
and,
make you feel?
a lot of the time, I like it because I feel a sense of challenge. Like I'm like, okay, how can I rope you into this right now? Because a lot of the time they just need to be woken up. They just need to punch in the face with some magic. And I'm like, no, hold on. I'm gonna do something extremely impossible right now, and you can't. Like if you think if you are thinking that's lame or you're not paying attention, that is completely on you, because I just
Right.
did some like crazy stuff, and it's I'd say that's the hardest part. The hardest part is getting someone to see your magic, but then when you turn them around, it is the most satisfying experience.
Fulfilling experience.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's same in Meisner too, right? Like
Right.
whenever you really put it through them and you wake them up, that's, I don't know. I feel like that's all
Oh
I
yeah,
do.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love those moments where sometimes, throughout break a new barrier
Affect
in
them.
my work and affect them in a way I hadn't before, and knowing that, okay, you just did the work. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to let it land on you. I had a lot of falling outs and a lot of banter with people close and near to me, just associates, simply because I was approaching a lot of the conversations differently than I would have prior to my training. And I wanted to get to the heart of the matter. I didn't want to do this shallow shit. Like, please, I see straight through that. Like, I know that's not really what it is. Let's get to it. Respectfully, like, I'm not trying to argue with you, and I'm not trying to disrespect you either. It's okay. We're just, part ways.
right there with you 100%. And I've always been that person. I have no filter, I've been told. I will always say what's on my mind. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not the most eloquent thing, but if it's the truth, it's the truth. And Meisner, oddly enough, has helped me become more eloquent and refined about it, because being in Meisner has gotten me to really take in the details. Yes, we do want to go off of our instincts, but I do now take a moment to take in, okay, what I'm having this initial gut reaction. Why am I having this gut reaction? And it's helping me get through to people, because yes, there is getting the truth, but then if you don't get it through to the other person, what is the point then?
Right.
And that's helped me in my non-artistic life which is amazing. I was like, wow, who knew that this was the one piece of my non-artistic life that's always given me trouble is being helped by my artistic life. I
Yeah.
love it.
I'm excited for what's to come, especially just because I'm not just in the acting space, but with music and art and all these other things that I'm just like, I have to let people know what it's like to be clear and specific because it can save you and me a lot of fucking time.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
You're graduated, you're 3 months into the first year.
Yeah, 3 months into the first year.
Yeah, so how are you guys feeling?
I'd say after graduating, Meisner in general feels like not only a life-changing experience, but a spiritual experience where you um you start to understand, like you're saying, parts of yourself that you wouldn't normally, and being able to own that and put it through another person. And God, it sucks so bad, like you're saying, when someone else doesn't get that, and you're like, just own your truth and just give it to me, dude.
Come on, like, let's
Come
go.
on,
Yeah.
please.
You can't hurt me.
Because I'll take it. I'll fucking
I'll
take
love
it.
it.
Hit me right here. Do it. I'll take it. Right now. That's frustrating. So it does tend to, there's a vetting process with relationships now. So that's how it's affected me with my non-artistic life. But I wish that I could give that to people because they don't understand how liberating it is. A lot of the time, they have no idea. And whenever I have tried to explain that to them or given this experience, sometimes they'll latch onto it and be like, oh yeah, like I can just tell you the truth and that's fine. I'm like, great, please continue to do that for the love of God, because that's how I feel like I operate now in my intimate relationships. I don't give my full truth to everyone all the time, but I'd say, that's how it's transformed my intimate relationships. It's very in line with Meisner now, being able to fully put how I feel through my partner or through my best friends or whatever it is. And thank God, both of my roommates and my best friends are at the end of the first year now. So we have this
Wow.
household where we're doing that all the time. So
Hold on, did you get them into Meisner?
I did.
That's dope.
Yeah.
All right, I need to get my boyfriend into Meisner because he needs to get it together. No, like,
Let me tell you, it helps.
I'm curious what it's like living in a household
yeah,
of
that's really
Meisner
cool.
trained people. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we all grew up together. Well, me and my best friend Lewis did. My other friend Justin, he came in a little bit later, but we all went to acting class in Florida. And I've been acting for a while now, since I was 5. So we all grew up doing acting, and then I got on a show out here called Fuller House, and so I did that for 5 years, and then at the tail end of that, we decided to move in together, and then COVID had hit, and then I took Meisner, and I said, guys, this is the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. And they're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, fine. And I'm like, just take the free online session. Just do it. Just do it for me, please. And they did. And they're like, yeah, this is cool. This is fine. And then they just, for some reason, didn't take it until this year, where now they have fully immersed themselves. They're at the end of the first year-ish. They got 1 month left. And it's great. I literally could not be better. I am so happy that I now have an environment, not just in my artistic life, but my non-artistic life, where we have a shared vocabulary, where I can be like, give me your goddamn truth right this second or I'll kill you. and that's what we do all the time. So it's very healthy. I'd say, like, in a
That's really
therapeutic
cool.
sense. Feels very
Right.
therapeutic.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great for setting boundaries,
Yeah, right.
If you don't want to do something, you won't want to do something.
Right.
You won't be peer pressured and finagled into doing something you don't want to do.
right.
Yeah, and you can say that more liberally. So I would say the more people you can get into Meisner that are in your close circle, the better. That's
We're
my
starting to sound like
opinion.
a cult. We're starting to sound like a cult.
It's a
You
cult.
know, it's all right. We're a cult. Let it be
Yeah.
a cult.
I'm fine
But
with that.
I actually want to ask you, you said you did Fuller House when you were younger?
I was 12.
You were 12. And have you watched your performance after doing Meisner
I have, yeah.
and critiqued yourself?
Have I critiqued myself? I look at that and I was 12. I was 12 to 17.
Big difference in age, yeah.
Yeah, big difference. And I'd say that what I did on the show was what I was capable of doing at that time. And I wouldn't say I'd critique myself. I'm like,
It's a good attitude to
I look
have.
at it endearingly.
Yeah.
Aw,
Aw,
aw.
younger me.
Yeah.
Little
What
me.
about you? Do you
That's
guys
really
look at your
cool.
performance and you go, wow, I could have done so much better? Or
So the anthology episode I shot, I was so nervous to watch it because I had no training whatsoever in what I did when I started acting. And I just went with like a gut feeling. Learning what I had learned, it scared the shit out of me to go back and watch it because I knew I was going to tear myself apart. In a good way,
Really?
because
Why?
I am my worst enemy and worst critique, like so judgmental of myself and my work because it means the world to me. I put my entire heart and soul and my foot into everything I do artistically. And so I'm very, very critical about every little detail. And so I was nervous and I didn't know what to anticipate because I didn't have the training and I was so green. I was so green to the acting world and got thrown into it like, hey, do this. Okay, you're great. You fit the look. You got the vibe. We shoot next week. Go fly to Atlanta. And I was like, okay, yeah. Wow. This is amazing. And I was getting a lot of good feedback from the directors and the writers. They were all very pleased with my performance. And so at the time I was like, yeah, I did that shit. Like hair flip, you know? And then I started training with Meisner and I was like, ooh, I didn't ask myself these questions. You know, I didn't really sit there and go, okay, Deja, how would you genuinely, truthfully react in this moment? I was playing a character, or for who I thought Julia was her name, my name, and I didn't have this sense of connection to her at that time. I didn't make it a point to put myself really in this character. Now you have this toolbox, this artistic toolbox, and at the time I didn't have that, and now having it, I'm very blessed and very grateful. And so I wasn't as judgmental because at first, the first time I watched it maybe 2 times. First being like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? That was ass. That wasn't so good. You look stupid. And then I watched it again with giving myself a bit of grace and having literally had my Meisner book right next to me. And I
The
was
Holy
just like
Bible.
skimming through the first year and just, you know, going over all my notes and watching my performance. And I was like, okay, you know what? This was the start of something amazing. I feel it. I'm confident of that. And to have a body of work that I could always compare from no training to the training I have now, I think is a blessing. So it was definitely nerve-wracking, scary, blah, and you know, all those little feelings and now it's like I'm just excited for what's next.
Anything that I do take on, I want to do well. You know?
Yeah.
And for me, that's always been learning about it. And that's why I'm here. I'm still early on in the training, but for me, it's watching the growth not just in myself but in other people, because being in a cohort and watching other people make their aha moments gets me going. And they always say that the greatest artists steal. Sometimes I'll see something that's so brilliant that I didn't see for myself and I go, I'm taking that. I don't know how I'm going to incorporate that into my being, but I'm going to, whatever that
Oh,
was,
hell
that
yeah.
essence, I'm taking that. You know?
How many times throughout your training did you hear like, oh, you get to this breakthrough, like you said, you didn't potentially go as you didn't get full enough or
Yeah.
didn't get through to the person or whatever, and then you do, and then you're like, wow, that wasn't that hard, and you know, our Mr. Ranjiv, that wasn't so hard, huh?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, well, you know, once you get it, doesn't seem that hard.
Right.
And it is fairly simple, but to get there, yeah, it's a challenge in a way. And it's a work in progress. But yeah, comparing your
Right.
know,
Oh, and comparing.
then
Oh,
and
yeah.
now.
Going back to,
And
yeah. That's okay. Let's go back to that train. I can't watch a lot of my old things. I cringe. That's the word that I would use is cringe.
cringe.
The stuff that I did when I had absolutely no training, I can't watch. My commercial stuff is fine, but most of my theatrical things, I can't watch. I
Why
just
not?
because I mean, I've seen them and I know that they're not great, which is why I'm here because I know that I have to get better.
Yeah. I mean, it was a stepping
yeah.
stone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. It got me to being here. I look at it as that it was a means to an end. It was me workshopping things out. It was essentially my acting class just displayed on camera. You know, my
Okay.
acting training on what not to do in acting to on
I
camera.
like that.
Yeah.
For sure, I can agree. I can relate to that. For sure. What not to do.
What not to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a certain amount of there is always going to be a certain amount of judgment when you see your stuff, but I think as you progress, you're going to have a lot more grace. I think that was a good word, grace, because you see what you can do better and you see what you really did well with. And for the most part, you know how to do both of them. And that's a liberating feeling, at least for me. But I think that when you get further in the training, you'll start to have an innate sense, and then you'll feel more confident that you can actually, like you're like, oh, that performance wasn't so great, but that's okay because I know how to effectively improve on the next one. It doesn't feel you don't feel so lost. You're not like like what do I do? Like this is like how do I fix this? You can go, oh, I wasn't truthfully believing it. I wasn't emotionally full. I wasn't listening and answering, and those things I know how to do, and I'll do them. So